Mr. Crab, good morning, you guys. If you haven't seen the movie Mordecai, it's terribly funny. I must say, there's also an aspect of it that I do not align with, which is there's some continuous references to pee, and for me, life should be about more oriented around Vivi, and not that jokes should be made about it. It's just that it's like an implied joke. Like the most exciting and nicest thing to see is a woman's body and her VV, and it's not complete without the complete package. It's clitoris, it's labia major and minor, and it's also the internal aspects, whatever you can see, and it just feels good to think about it, and it's a stress reliever, and it's basically our flower as a species. It's what we can orient ourselves around, and it's the alternative to people being concerned about other things about life, like the difficulties of life, like the limitations of their health or wealth, like the different things, like comparing wealth, also comparing your physical features, including sexual features like breasts, TTS, or PP, which is not we don't really want to compare each other. In reality, we want to, in the vibration of love and sustainability. What I mean is, like, the quote unquote hookup culture based upon superficial attractions. It's not sustainable. It shouldn't last. Humanity should destroy itself if it continues to go in such an accord. And so what I'm saying is, it's like, what's a life worth living as human beings? And from my vantage point, it's Vivi. It's it's wanting to find a sense of peace and serenity, and something that also transcends the sexual aspects of trying to be sexually attractive, trying to uh, trying to whatever it is. Just this idea of the sexual intercourse has more to do with, like, the guy dominating the woman, and it's kind of a primal urge that, in a way, it's not really the real you, because it's just your kind of unconscious, or not unconscious, like genetic, autonomic, it's like something that you don't control. It's like something that it just happens, like the heartbeat or breathing, and this arousal. But if we want to worship the VV, and specifically our wife's VV, then it starts to evolve into a different kind of experience. It evolves into one where people are they're they're it's more playful, and it's less about the functionality and more about the pleasure and but specifically about the like the feminine. Like it's about the it's like sexual attention towards the woman. That's what makes it a woman. That the it's like directing that attention towards a woman. That's what makes it a woman. How do I explain that? The feminine energy, the feminine is about receiving sexual attention. The man is about giving sexual attention. So, for example, I would rather orally pleasure my wife's VV than receive oral gratification from her. I'd rather compliment her than be expecting compliments from her about, my genitals. That's the direction I'm going. And so it's this way of going beyond what the limitations of this physical existence that we essentially created at being pure consciousness and essentially locked ourselves into, specifically the human experience. And it's like, what do you make your God? What do you see as most important? And what's really interesting is that when people orient themselves around if they would want a if like when you think of life and your potential, your desire for a potential life partner, and you think of it in terms of the what if they're like giving them oral sex. Like when you think of a wife in terms of giving her oral sex, it instead, like when you look at a woman to assess her level of attraction, and you think about whether you would give her oral sex or not, that is I think an easier define, because you're going to want to do that anyway. So you should be assessing by that, should be a factor for considerations. But think. But essentially, yeah, essentially, it's like when you look at a woman, right, and you think, well, she looks attractive, she has whatever physical attractive qualities. When you think of that. But then you think of, well, because the appeal to the vulva is different. It involves, it's a different kind of a thing. Like a lot of these quote unquote alpha male player, promiscuous guys who try to get as many women as they can and play out that archetype. They don't like the idea of orally pleasuring women. They consider it a submissive act, and that men shouldn't do it because it's submissive, and it should be about dominating the woman sexually, or it should be about her breasts or whatnot. But for me, like, I prefer women with a flatter chest, because to me breasts are for children, and maybe they'll increase in size with milk production, but it's like beyond that. So where are we going with this? Yeah. So, like, when you look at a woman and you look, is she promiscuous? Because that would make her less attractive to be with, right? If she to orally pleasure her, right? And then what else? Is she like? Do you like her skin tone? Like, what's the most likely physical appearance of her vulva? Do you like her? Do you like her level of hygiene? As attractive as a woman might look, maybe she's curvaceous, but like, does it seem like she's like, if a woman's legs are too thick, then it's gonna certainly be less hygienic in her vagina region, because there's less air flow, so yeah, all things to consider. Of truth and let's see. Let's see, people. Let's see. So the point is, I'm putting together a website it's gonna be of course, like a lead-in to shieldheart.org. It's gonna be like a website that kind of offers an overview to what the VV is, what the vulva is, and that it's combined elements offer an erotic and seductive image, and that it's more it's a different kind of serene energy to be involved with it. And so if you use it properly, that energy, and if you don't, for example, it's like, I'm sure that women would want that all the time, even though, women may or may not want to have penetrative sex all the time, because it could be achy, or there's different factors. And part of this is about the reality that, can women actually do it on their own? No, they can't. I think women make pretty erratic decisions when they're left to their own devices, if they're not regulated, and if some men, like, maybe Pookie and Ray Ray, quote unquote, are willing to have sex with them, even if they're overweight, then women just are, they can have a tendency to be okay with being overweight. And so what I'm saying is, they're happy if a guy just finds them attractive, and that's all that matters. Like it doesn't matter if they're healthy or not. It just, perhaps if they're, have a certain breast size, and then the guys like it, like, they're okay with that. They don't care about being physically fit and everything. Like, that's, as long as they get male attention. And you'll see that women will try to get male attention in other ways, like by being around a successful person. And I mean, there's other get the benefits of that, but there's other aspects to it as well, that women they behave irrationally, starting with everything from makeup to which is damaging and gets into the skin, to what else? There's makeup, there's surgeries for physical modifications, and I don't want to say enhancements, because I don't think it's attractive at all, and I'm sure there's a majority contingent of men who agree that fake fillers and stuff is entirely unattractive, and even makeup is not attractive. Like, and even stuff like high heels, like, a woman is supposed to look a certain way, and not like too like attractive and intimidating. In a professional context, women else is more aggressive or dominant, but the reality is that wearing heels and bold makeup and all this stuff is actually a masculine action. It's actually about power, and so do I have any more to add on to that? I might not. There's a lot more. There's the willingness to go forward with abortions. If there was a guy, he would never do an abortion. If it was a guy, just like if it was a guy, he would never take birth control, because obviously that changes. It changes. You never see a guy doing something that would change his hormones, like testosterone, because guys wouldn't do that. They they know logically that it's foolish to undermine your natural physical and cerebral desires or capacities, you know. So it's like, let's see here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I bet there's more. I bet I could shoot off a few more. Like, well, here's a big one: women thinking that they'll be able to what women do is they'll have sex with a guy they think is attractive because they think that'll seduce the guy into being with them. First of all, why would you want someone just because they have a sexual appeal to you? Secondly, that has the reverse effect. Women what ends up happening is the man doesn't respect her because she doesn't value her chastity, and she doesn't have pure of mind and spirit, and for that matter even of body, because if she's done that with him, then it's only likely that she'll have done that with others. And then what have women essentially done? They've been offered freedom by men, and I say offered because men are smarter and stronger than women, so therefore they're the ones who allow things to happen in the world. But and men are about legacy. Men think long term. Men are willing to work more hours. That's why men make more, because they're willing to work difficult jobs and make more hours. So they should, and infrastructure stuff that even the strongest of women, most of them either don't want to do it, or they just can't. But this is not an invitation to try to go MGTOW and men gone their own way and trying to have some type of a superior orientation of compared to women. No, this is what this is more about. It's about it's more about it's more about people wanting to work together because there's reciprocal benefits to that, So that's my thoughts. It's been a pleasure. Do a little light work here. It's a session to do some positive clearing, and we'll see where things go. But at the moment, yeah, we're thinking about good times, good energies, and imagining brilliant white light. Let's imagine someone you're attracted to, and obviously you don't want to engage in premarital intimacy because that's unloving. But let's say and by the way, it is Oh, and another thing that women do, they have pets, it's totally irrational. They get attached to pets. Guys do that too, but women do it more as a thing, like they're biologically trying to care for something, but really they should be caring for other humans. For example, instead of having dogs, they should be caring for, maybe volunteering at a child care center once a week. We need that. And women are, so women basically using their newfound freedom, they're damaging society by doing all these things. And men are also have things that they do, but I'm saying that, like, you guys know the statistics of where a single father household, the kids will be way better off than a single mother household, because women are more about nurturing. Men are more about structure, logic, and discipline, and actually taking action and getting things done, and being productive. Women are more about talking and thinking, and there's benefits to each. You do, but to run society, you have to have, like, the way I see it is, women are kind of like, almost like an animal still. They're still like a primal animal. It's been said also that they only have the, like, thinking capacities of someone that's like maybe a 13 or teenager, between the ages of 13 and 19, and that they don't really mature out of that. Now, part of all that may be just simply because women have had the luxury of men taking care of them, so they haven't developed as much mentally and physically, and working on their physical strength. But that's kind of the angle I'm taking. But it's all about celebrating women and their vulvas, and when women need to celebrate their own vulvas, and they need to pleasure themselves. They need to use dildos. A man shouldn't be the first entity or object to penetrate them. It should be them and playing with dildos and pleasuring themselves. So that's my take on that. White light, brilliant white light. Imagine a person you're attracted to. Imagine them smiling. Imagine them smiling for a second. Imagine a brilliant white light streaming down on them, surrounding them with an orb, like a brilliant white light starts to emanate from their chest, and then imagine that maybe an angel's flying through the sky and sees them, and then goes like this. This is how I do light work. I imagine a beam, brilliant white light. I imagine it shining down. Whew. Yeah. And so yeah, let's talk more soon. Roundhouse, come on, Roundhouse, you got this. VV time. It's all Team VV. Come on, Roundhouse, we got this. All right, I gotta run, but we've done good, guys. We've done good. Aloha.